Tune into Salam Media via Ordeal.
Welcome back. You're still tuned in to Salam Media. The time is 7 minutes past 10. And joining me in a bit in the latter stages of the show is a South African football journalist, esteemed South African football journalist, Lorenz Köhler. And he'll be helping us to discuss, I think, a very troubling development that could ultimately shake up the path to AFCON 2025. I think if you were on the social media streets, you would know by now that the Super Eagles of Nigeria recently enjoyed a 12-hour ordeal at Al Abrak International Airport in Libya, disrupting their plans for a crucial AFCON qualifier against Libya. And they were apparently or allegedly stranded without food or transportation. And after feeling mistreated, the team has announced its intention to withdraw from the match. And ultimately, that happened. That game didn't happen. That fixture was, I don't know, postponed or abandoned, whatever you want to call it. And apparently this move could ultimately jeopardize Nigeria's spot in next year's tournament in Morocco. And with Nigeria currently leading their group, their potential withdrawal could open the door for Benin and Rwanda to take advantage. And CAF's decision on the matter will determine how this saga unfolds. Lorenz, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Salam Media. Really excited to be chatting to you about this one.
Thank you for inviting me, and good morning to all the listeners.
I think first and foremost, from what you've gathered, what exactly happened at the Al Abrak airport, and how has this affected, the Super Eagles physically and mentally? Could this kind of ordeal be enough for a team to abandon a fixture as important as an AFCON qualifier?
Look, obviously, there's two sides of the story. From the one section that looked like, Nigeria. Obviously, the players went on social media. Just hang on. The players went on social media to express their concern of how they were treated because they were rerouted to a different airport. They were stuck there for 15 hours plus, no food, no nothing. So obviously they were up in arms and saying, this is terrible conditions. There was no communication from the Libyan FA about how to improve things. They were sent these mini buses that looked like, the CIA taxis, and they were just appalled by that. You know what I mean? But on the other side, Libya also said that they were treated badly in Uyo a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. Obviously, two wrongs don't make a right, but there's the Libyan side, there's the Nigerian side, and then obviously CAF in the middle needs to take all the information gathered and decide who was in the wrong here. So obviously, with the game not being played, Nigeria taking that stance to say, you know what, we're going to go home. It could end up, being Libya getting the 3 points on the basis of that. And people establish what really happened. Was the Libyan FA at fault? Was it government interference? Was it a natural thing that went wrong? Like, I don't know. Nobody knows at this point. It's hearsay. So yeah, obviously CAF has made a statement to say the game won't go through. There's been some fake news going around saying that the game might be replayed. But yeah, at the moment, the ball is in the court of the CAF, the disciplinary committee. But we did see also some other countries, even supporting Libya. It's actually quite disturbing because they're saying that, many countries have been mistreated in Nigeria as well. But obviously that doesn't make what happened right. 15 hours without food and attention is just sickening. Because had Nigeria, taken that bus, who knows how unsafe it could have been, you know what I mean? And there were also some reports to say that a couple of media even died in Libya, Nigerian media from SuperSport Crew. It wasn't verified. So I don't think it went viral, but there were talks of serious issues with media in Libya.
I think the truth is right now everyone is just working from a point of assumption. That's why I'm going to ask you this question from just general assessment, and also it's also a bit tongue in cheek because we know and understand how African football can be like. South African teams and national teams, we've experienced this before. The treatment, from the different FAs in order to kind of destabilize the camp, and to make sure that when you guys arrive to your ultimate destination where you guys are going to be playing, you guys are tired and demoralized. It's a tactic. It's been used in African football for a very, very long time. I think even you spoke about other countries coming on board. Bafana also, they themselves, we know what happened a couple of months ago when they went to play out in Nigeria, and some of the delays that they faced there. But do you think there was any kind of indication that this situation was intentional, or was it a case of poor coordination by the Libyan authorities and Football Federation?
Look, I mean, there was a video that surfaced of the pilot talking and saying that they were rerouted to like a different airport 300 kilometers away from where they were originally planned to land. So it does look like there was some like, premeditated um, things to frustrate them,
Mm.
if you know what I mean. But like, yeah, like you're saying, it's common in Africa. Like in Tanzania, you hear of, being locked out of dressing rooms, going to the being sent to the wrong side of the stadium, food poisoning, the people being gassed in their bus. There's lots of
Mm.
things. It doesn't make it right, but yeah, from the information that is out there, it looks like it was premeditated. But at the same time, like it's like a very one-sided story being told because the Nigerian media influence is quite strong,
Mm.
whereas you don't hear much of what's happening from the Libyan side. But from what we've gathered, it does look like a lot of damning evidence against the Libyans.
Yeah, African football, definitely a jungle. Do you
Mm.
think the Nigerian Football Federation's decision to back the players was the right move when they decided that they're not going to be participating in this fixture? They want to pack everything up and go home and ultimately go their separate ways back to their clubs. Do you think was this the right move? I mean, this is a very, very important fixture, and there might be implications to this. But wouldn't be the best idea to just play the fixture and then maybe lay a complaint with CAF against Libya afterwards?
Right decision just for the safety of the players because who knows what would have happened after that if they had to take that minibus on the road to drive like 200, 300 kilometers to the venue where they should have been at. That could have ended up being a disaster. Also, just the welfare of the players having not eaten for 15 hours and then going to train and playing a match the next day. I mean, that doesn't sound, like quite smart. And also, just to set the precedent, if everything, the way they explain it, is true, you need to take a stand towards it and say, we can't just overlook these things as they are. It's Africa, we need to,
Mm.
put our foot down and say, like, listen, guys, this is ridiculous. You know what I mean? And if they are found guilty of, the dark arts of Africa and what have you, then obviously a heavy sanction should be imposed. And not just, oh, you can't play at your stadium for one game, not just a fine, but kick them out of the tournament proper. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And if they start setting that as a precedent, I think, you'll find many more countries stop trying or attempting to do this because it's not in the fair spirit of the game. And like if you look at like Morocco, if you look at South Africa, Egypt, and things like that, like you never hear of these stories in these countries. They're always treated well. They get five-star treatment. The ambassadors of their respective countries, meet them at the airport. Like it's like a paradise in these
They're
countries.
too nice. They're too nice, Lorenz.
Yeah,
Maybe that's why
yeah.
we haven't won an AFCON since '96.
Yeah, I think. Look, I mean, our fans often say that, but I mean, like, do unto others as you want to be treated. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
it's, it's a silly thing. It's a very silly thing, and it's just I don't know. If you
Mm.
see how some of these I mean, in African football, you get these dark arts, you get people calling about juju and muti and whatever. And there's so many plot twists. Like, for example, you look at the Ghana national team right now, they're packed full of European superstars and they can't buy a win at the moment, where South Africa is full of local players, Angola is full of local players, Sudan is full, and they're doing well. So there's so many different narratives and stories, and I don't think there's just a outright formula, but of success on this continent. But yeah, it is interesting, but it definitely needs to put an end to it very soon with CAF with some strict sanctions.
Mm. What do you think is the likelihood that Nigeria might be docked points for not honoring the fixture, or maybe the fixture itself being replayed, which would seem like a more fairer option? What do you think from CAF's perspective would be the most correct decision to take? Because Libya would go, well, we were here, we wanted to play, they're the ones that decided to leave. But again, as you said, there's the other side, of the coin, where the Nigerians are saying, as you mentioned, we don't know how safe we could have been. The circumstances were difficult. But then the Libyans again might turn around that we faced some difficulties in Nigeria, but we're still able to play.
Yeah, I mean Ghana and what you call it, Ghana and Sudan played in Libya the day before, so there wasn't any issues there. So Libya could argue. I mean, there's no problem of replaying the game here. But it also depends on the evidence at the end of the day. If the evidence does go against Libya, you will say, okay, let's play this game at the replay this game at the neutral venue. I think, look, there is a possibility that Nigeria will be top points, but I think the ramifications around it will be ridiculous. Like, it will cause a lot of drama. But at the end of the day, it all depends on the evidence. You know what I mean? Yeah, like Nigeria, for example, were alleging to the Libyans when they were complaining about their mistreatment in the fixture in Uyo, that it was self-imposed and there was no issues and they were trying to create a drama. You understand where I'm going with this? I doubt anybody would self-impose himself 15 hours in an abandoned airport. But you know what I mean? Nobody can know what the truth is right now.
No, definitely. And just in closing, our boys Bafana needing just 3 points out of a possible 6. What's the likelihood that we might be qualifying for a second conservative AFCON?
Yeah, look, we just need a 1-0 win over Uganda, or a 3-3 draw, and we'll be through with a game to spare. So I think, Africa will definitely get the job done. I think we do have the capabilities of going to Kampala and getting a result. And should we not get the result there, we'll finish the job at home against South Sudan. So yeah, I'm very confident that there's 2 fixtures to go with. It's just a foregone conclusion.
All right, we're going to leave it there, Lorenz. Thank you so much for joining us and giving us your time. Really, really appreciate it.
Sure.
There you go. Yeah, interesting. African football, Baba. It's either you ship in or you ship out. It's not for the weak, but it looks like, from a lot of people's point of view, the Nigerians couldn't get a taste of their own medicine. And it's going to be interesting going forward just how the Confederation of African Football will be handling this very sensitive, scenario, because both, countries, both federations have a very, very strong case to make. So I think, for me at least, the best outcome would be just a replay of the fixture and get it over and done with. And speaking about getting things over and done with, we have come to the end of this edition of News and Views. It's been another insightful, interesting, and fun one. Tomorrow, the Friday Juma edition of the show will be hosted by Inayat Wadi, so be sure not to miss that one. But for myself, Salah Elo, and the rest of the team, goodbye.